loyalty, friendship, hope. We abandon all that. But who knows if it will ever return, or our sins will continue. Even after the incident, the suffering has not ended at all. Shoot it! Bang, bang, bang! Shoot it now! Foul engine! Foul thing! Kill it! No, capture it! Give me that booking camera! In 2015, the world was introduced to the horrors and suffering that began on an island in Muskoka. I don't think the documentary showed anything we didn't already know, although there is more. Everyone who saw the documentary became desensitized about what happened to the Total Drama Gang. When it was actually released, the actions, well, overreactions, became heartbreaking, and many were taken to a psychiatric hospital afterwards because of what they just saw. It was truly heartbreaking. And not long after, many people would form communities about it. Many people would actually form communities online about it and form friendships. After what just happened, many scientists actually quit. Ali's family was in hiding. And Mr. Gordon, the complete bastard, ran away, never to be seen. And there I was, being blamed for it all. Although at the time, no one knew what was going on. Although, as they were being taken, as the government took them, to cover up the secrets, the research lab was actually closed down because of this. Many people actually reported many screams that night. So that's what brought the government here. So here we are now. But there's more to all this than there meets the eye. And many would suffer trauma in their own way. The newspapers had their own theories, mainly by the journalists who tried to pretty much figure out what was going on. But they never did. Until years later, but we'll get to that soon. Many lost their jobs at the research lab, and while on Upper Island, well, we tried for a while to actually keep the tourist trade going, but because of all the bad publicity, we couldn't. We didn't tell them what was going on, so we became suspicious, and they just left. We tried everything to try and keep the tourist trade going, but because of the whole incident that we had to keep secret, we were forced to close down the Walnut Island for a while, and the franchise was soon postponed. But two more people would actually come out to actually tell more of the story, reveal more of what happened before and after the incident on Walnut Island. We worked with them in the 2000s, even to this day. So we were around them at all times. It's only now, after we can't make a difference to their lives, that we heroically start to speak. The government actually shut down the lab, the Walnut lab, and banned it. But there was still a problem. Some scientists were in process. Being in process was the last place anyone wanted to be. And you'll see why in a minute. Because they had to completely or be left to die. That meant turning them into something that I think you all already know already. Into a simple form of life form that existed on the island. Animals. These animals rarely had the brain capacity once from their former human selves. These were former scientists and former employees at the Walnut Research Lab. Once they quit, protested, or even got fired, they were turned into animals, and they were used on the show. So all the animals you actually see in the show, they were actually once humans themselves. But it was hell for them, and extremely painful, because even though they remained calm, underneath they were suffering slow pains, mega pains at times, and slow, painful death. After the research lab closed down, the contestants were taken to a secret place. It was rather that, or locked away forever. If you ask me, being locked away forever is actually heaven compared to what happened to them next. The secret government lab was in England, London. Somewhere in London also. Pocket-tail research, that's what they called it. A secret government lab named after the island, continuing the work that Walnut Research started. All the contestants, from Ireland to Redonkulous race, was taken there. And you think the torture on the island was bad? They went through hell on that island. Experimented on, tortured, used as test subjects, and all sorts of horrors. Frankly, being back on the island was felt like a safe haven compared to here. The experiments they actually put on them was to test them. Sometimes they try to make them human again as a test, but it was no use. They still remained androids. So the torture went on forever. And the person who was in charge of it was just as bad as Gordon was. Professor Jesse Tweedy was in charge of the whole research. The problem is she was too mad and just as bad as Gordon was. Her biggest dream was much more sinister and a lot more dangerous. This project This project will revolutionize everything. Think of it. A human weapon by one of these contestants used to stop wars. The government will be glad that this project is super. But super as in super powerful. Project dakotazoid. Using one of the contestants. The first task was to use some of the DNA from the previous contestants into the tanker for it to work. If she was calling it, and now she calls it a name, Project dakotazoid. Think of it, a weapon used by a child. Her inner demon could be useful to anybody, in secure conditions, of course. There was nothing they wouldn't try in that place. Nothing at all.